Okay, so in my last video I covered carnivore anatomy, physiology versus human anatomy and physiology, and how the two differ vastly. One thing that I didn't bring up directly though was omnivores and how we compare to an omnivore, and that's probably a question that comes up for a lot of people. Well, obviously we're not carnivores, but aren't we omnivores? Well, no, we're not. If you look at the anatomy and physiology of an omnivore, they're actually very similar to a carnivore. So again, they've got the sharp canine teeth that they can use to catch prey with. They shear their food, they don't chew it, there's no lateral jaw motion, they've got a very strong stomach acid, ours is very weak. They've got intestines that are 3 times their body length, whereas ours are 9 times our body length. They don't have hands that can grab and pick fruit. They've got paws, 4 paws that they run along with. So when you take all of that into account, again, it becomes very clear that we're not an omnivore either. We're not set up to eat meat at all, actually. So I guess that brings me to the whole caveman, paleo sort of theory. Aren't we caveman? We've been hunting for a long time. Surely we've evolved to be able to eat meat because that's what we've been doing for such a long time. And yes, that is what we've been doing for a long time. And from my research, the sort of anthropological reasons behind that are that we originally were a tropical species. We developed in a tropical environment, living in an environment where there was lots of particularly fruit available throughout the seasons, and it was very easy to pick it and eat it and move along. And so we were more of a gathering species. We carry our babies with us like an ape does. But for whatever reason, something's happened and humans have started exploring the planet and going to the far ends of the earth where we're not designed to live. We don't have fur, we don't carry our fur coats with us. We don't have insulating fat on our bodies, or we shouldn't have insulating fat on our bodies. We're not set up to live in those climates, and that's because of our anatomy and our physiology, and our food sources aren't there. The food sources that we're designed to eat aren't in those locations. But because we're a very adaptable species, we have been able to survive in those environments by hunting. And that doesn't mean that that's healthy. That doesn't mean that that's what we're originally designed to eat. If you look at the research around the Eskimo diet, for example, which is very heavily based in animal products, because obviously you can't grow fruit in the ice, they die really young. They have a huge rate of cardiac disease amongst the population. It's not a healthy diet. There's an abundance of plant foods available to us these days. Wherever you live, I just think it's unethical to think that you can't be a healthy vegan, and you're going to contribute to further suffering and problems with the planet and ecological issues by continuing down the path that we weren't designed to start on in the first place. And so that's my take on it, and that's based on facts around omnivore versus human anatomy, what we're actually set up to eat. It's based on research around the anthropological changes over eons of years with regards to human movements over the globe. And it's based on nature, what we're actually supposed to be doing in the first place. So one of the other major differences between an omnivore and a human is the requirement for fibre. So omnivores have no physiological requirement for fibre to stimulate peristalsis, which is the movement of the intestinal tract that moves the food down and through. Humans have a very high requirement for fibre, and that's what stimulates the peristalsis of our intestinal tract. And so when you look at the diet of an omnivore that's quite fibre deficient, there's no fibre in meat. Compare that to a plant eater's diet. It's abundant in fibre, and that's actually one of the macronutrients that's incredibly deficient in the standard diet these days, and one of the macronutrients that, when it's missing, contributes to a lot of the lifestyle and degenerative diseases that we're seeing these days. So, colon cancer is a good example. When you've got rotting, dead, dying with dead tissue sitting in your colon for long periods of time, and you're not eating enough fibre to actually move that through and out, you're going to get sick. You're going to get colon cancer. It's a no-brainer, really. So, yeah, start with increasing your fibre, guys, and maybe you won't get colon cancer. So hopefully that clarifies a few things for people that maybe weren't covered in the last video, and see how that feels to you.